If you say you're going to do something, follow through, it's actually unkind to your child and actually disrupts their sense of security if you can't consistently hold that boundary if you've established it.
Welcome to the Dad Central Show, the podcast that helps overwhelmed dads conquer stress, build confidence, and become the father their family brags about. Join Drew Solon, a leadership coach and father of five, and Ed Gow Jr., a fatherhood advocate and contributor to the Good Men Project, as we guide you through the journey of fatherhood. We'll show you how to connect deeply with your family, manage your time and energy better, and master tools to become the dad you want to be. Let's get started. What is up, everybody? It's Ed Gow Jr. of Dad Central. And look at that. Is that a hoodie or is that a t-shirt?
Just a t-shirt.
Yeah, okay. All right. Just a
It's
t-shirt.
summer,
So
Ed. No hoodies unless I
yeah, but
absolutely have to.
okay, no worries. Okay, so welcome to the Dad Central Show or Dad Central Podcast. And I have a question for you, whether you're watching or listening. Ever feel like you're consistently correcting your child, but it's just not working? Well, today we're unpacking how to set boundaries with love, not fear, so your child listens and feels secure. So, Drew, what are your thoughts on this one? This is gonna be a good. All of them are good, but this is an area that I know you and I we have conversations with dads, fathers, and male caregivers. Can be challenging.
Yeah, it can be challenging, but I take a step back and I just want to focus on the first part of it, boundaries. You know, boundaries is something that I've learned in my adult life, just how valuable, important they are, as well as having them clearly defined and understanding our role in establishing healthy boundaries, modeling healthy boundaries, as well as respecting other people's boundaries and helping our children learn and develop boundary management skills. I think it was Dr. Henry Cloud and Robert Townsend who wrote a book way back in the 80s. Can you imagine that? About boundaries, and it became like a bestseller because it really, anyways, it's very practical, very relevant, very important, especially if you're building healthy relationships or helping our children learn what healthy relationship looks like. So, the principle of boundaries, I think, is so important. So I don't want to miss that. And then, of course, this idea of doing it in a way that builds a healthy, positive, loving relationship with our child, which I think every dad wants. So very important. So I think it's great that we're talking about it.
Yeah, and the three areas we're going to get into today are why boundaries are an act of love, three practical tools for positive discipline, and then common dad struggles. Before we get into our three, Drew, do you have? I'm going to put you on the spot. What's positive discipline in your mind or in your heart? What's positive discipline?
Yeah. So positive discipline is the ability to, I'm going to say, engage in relationship with your children that brings about a tremendously positive result for them as well as for you. And I think it helps rather than a focus on consequences or punishment to control or elicit maybe unhealthy or more destructive emotions like fear in our children to comply. It builds a desire, a sense of I really want to do this. So very positive growth in terms of I want to behave because this relationship is so important and matters that much to me. So that's how I would roughly define positive discipline.
Okay. Well, let's get into it. Let's talk about our first point today, why boundaries are an act of love. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, this one is I learned this early on, I think even from my parents. You know, kids who have structure, have expectations, have some rules, they actually feel safer, even though they tend to resist, push back, and sometimes defy the rules and structure, because it lets them know that an adult in my life truly cares about me enough that they're going to hold me accountable or they're going to stand firm in an area that isn't maybe good for me, even though me as a child, I'm a child, of course, right? So that for me, that structure, it breeds safety. And safety is a building ground of trust, right? And so when you set the limit, but also calmly, patiently, lovingly, but consistently hold that limit so that they know that no matter what, it's not going to shift and change and adjust, then they can build trust in you that what you say you're going to do and what you say is important, you truly live out and say it and hold them accountable to. So I think that those two areas are really important of establishing safety and security, plus the trust, which is the foundation of any healthy, valuable relationship.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, there's many a research study that will just verify what Drew's just shared there. And again, trust is so foundational, let alone dad with child, but just human beings.
Hmm.
Everything has, yeah, it's no different than between human beings. Better, there's much better potential positive outcomes when trust is at the foundation of the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put you on a little bit of spot again. Do you have an example of firm and kind parenting that you'd love to share with our audience?
Yeah. So I'm going to use technology because it's a challenging one. So we have established expectations in our home with technology for all of our children. Sophia is the one because of the prior relationship and her father placing the cell phone in her, giving her the cell phone. She has access to it, but we have had to consistently and as lovingly as we could reestablish this is the standard and expectation of how technology is used in the home. And it's continually challenged, I would say, or defied, and that's what we are continuing to be as kind and as patient. And I'm gonna say this though, it would actually be really unkind of us, and if we just allowed it to continue on, because it wouldn't be serving Sophia's best interest. I think be potentially destructive for her because of some self-regulating challenges. We as parents know that. It would be really unkind and unhelpful if we didn't actually hold the limit. So that's why the limit is actually us showing kindness to her and for her overall best interest down the road.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Let's move to point number two. Drew's going to give us three practical tools for positive discipline. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, the number one tool is your calm voice. And I'm not sure if you're listening, if you're familiar with that study done way back in the 60s at Stanford where 93% of our communication is actually nonverbal. So I may be contradicting myself here, but the calm voice strategy is helpful as long as it's followed up with the calm body strategy as well, because tone of voice and body language, make up a big part of that. So I'm gonna say the more that you can breathe first before you react when setting the limit, and then choose to stay as calm and as measured as possible when reestablishing the limit. I think that's really helpful. And I'm going to throw another thing that goes with it is the idea of empathy can help you really get to a place where you can engage the calmer voice because it can be quite challenging when children continually push the boundaries. And while you want to stay calm, inside you're infuriated that they've crossed the line again and that they're intentionally doing it. It feels like it's an onslaught against like your authority. Been there, done that many times. So, but the empathy to say, what does it feel like for them to be in their circumstance, in their situation? And how can I show, doesn't mean I agree with them. It's just how can I show that I have empathy helps you to get to a place along with the breathing, takes you out of the fight, flight, or freeze reactiveness and allows you to access the higher thinking that, hey, this is a child. My role is to help regulate and set the temperature in this interaction. I'm going to use my calm voice. So I think that's really important. Tool number two is, I use this all often with Eliana when it comes to, certain food. Like she wants to eat certain things and we're like, no, you're not eating that. So when you have finished your broccoli, then you can have the cookie. So it's the when then technique. You're setting an expectation. When you have completed cleaning your room, then you have the opportunity to have some screen time. Until that's done, I'm sorry, but you just can't do that yet. So the calm voice, applying the when then technique is tool number two. And then tool number three is when the inevitable happens, They push the boundary, they push back. Well, I don't want to clean my room. Like, whatever. It looks perfectly fine, but and you get frustrated and you're like, that's it. We're done. You're not having technology for the next 2 days or whatever. You know, you've got to learn how to repair after there's been some breach or some conflict that has resulted. And this is, I think, really crucial. I think it's Dr. Becky, I forget her last name, Good Inside, right? She's got a TED Talk, a great TED Talk. She's got obviously her whole Good Inside community and a whole Good Inside book. But it's really the idea that kids don't misbehave because they want to misbehave. They misbehave because there's an unmet need, and they're good inside. It's just we need to be able to know and understand how to meet that unmet need. And so, keeping that in mind, you want to be as conscious that this is not a child who's intentionally trying to get under your skin. It's a child who just has some needs, and you need to find ways to support them through that. So, repairing should things break down is crucial to rebuild that trust and reaffirm the safety and security of the relationship, that they're not afraid that the relationship's now broken down irreparably, and you feel more connected to them to be able to maintain the level of patience that you need and support through some of these challenging boundaries that are being pushed. So anyways, what are your thoughts on that, Ed? Did it make sense? I know I rambled a bit.
No, it all made sense, and the name you're looking for is Dr. Becky Kennedy.
Kind of, that's it.
Yeah, who has written a great, is really good. So if you want some good insight on parenting, and also she's done a talk, TED talk on parenting, but she has some really good suggestions in regards to that. And yeah, I think you hit it on the head that, especially that when then technique
Hmm.
is really, really important. But I think the most important thing is when these moments of discipline happen, making and finding ways to reconnect, because I've been involved with fathers who haven't taken time to reconnect after the incident has happened, and it's come back to haunt them. So it's really, really, really important. Yes, it's happened and there's a resolution, but you want to do as much as possible to make that U-turn and continuing your positive parenting journey with your children or kids forward. These things happen, there are bumps in the road. And just think about it. If you don't make an effort to reconnect after the incident, how do you think your child's going to feel?
Well, think of it like this. Let's say you make a mistake at work. Your boss comes in, chews you out, demands you get it right, fix it, make this problem go away. Never even acknowledge the fact that they stormed into your office. They never acknowledged that they were pissed off at you. Then they never even said thanks for taking that step and fixing it, and they just kind of went on like nothing had ever happened. I don't know. Maybe I'm describing some people's bosses, but I hope I'm not. The reality is that's most people would be like, "What the hell? Like,
Yeah.
can I get a little like, hey, thanks for cleaning that up? Can I get something?" Right? But if we do that with our kids every single day, how are they feeling? What are they left
Mhm.
with? So in terms of
Mhm.
our leadership role in the home, this idea of repair, it's as simple as, hey, I'm really sorry about what happened back there. Yes, I felt frustrated because you didn't follow the rules, but I also said something that I shouldn't have said. And I want you to know I'm really sorry about that. Can you please forgive me? I mean, that's pretty simple. Or just be like, you know what?
Yeah.
Really didn't like what happened back there. I'm sorry for my part in it. Can we agree that we're not going to get to that place again? Can you and I agree? Let's shake on it. Right? Or look, that really sucked. I'm sorry. Can you forgive me? Or find me like, hey, look, that sucked. We were both not where we wanted to be. I know you love X. Can I take you out for some ice cream to make up for it? Just so you know that I'm really sorry. And then you go and you have a good time. It's like left behind, but at least you've taken that step. I mean, it can be as simple as it can be, but it still should be something you can do.
And the final thing we're going to look at today is some common dad struggles when it comes to discipline. Drew?
Well, we've touched on it a bit here. Let's say we get pushed and we lose it. We lose our temper. We yell. We say something we didn't want to say. We get frustrated. That's a challenge. Sometimes saying no and holding the boundary. I think dads sometimes struggle with that, right? Kids can be very they know how to tug on our heartstrings, especially when some of us are, we like to pretend we're tough, but really we're just pretty soft. And so it's hard to hold the boundary and say no consistently. So I'd say those are common. If you lose your temper, repair. It's pretty simple. When it comes to setting the boundary, I'm going to go back to my example about Sophia. It's actually unkind to your child and actually disrupts their sense of security if you can't consistently hold that boundary if you've established it. They get confused. Wait a minute. Dad said this, but now he's kind of letting me do that. Or he's holding the boundary with me, but he's not holding the boundary with my sibling. Or like, I don't know, dad's not even doing that himself. So really, here is you need to find ways to, if you say you're going to do something, follow through in terms of the credibility, and then engage some support, whether that's your spouse, whether that's a parenting expert, or like something that helps you recognize how you're helping your child through establishing consistent boundaries so that they don't then feel less safe as a result. So I think it's one of the most important things, especially if you're struggling to hold the boundary consistently. Work as best you can
Yeah.
at that.
Yeah, and you took what I was going to just say, and the importance of consistent when co-parenting, the consistency with your partner as much as possible when it comes to discipline is so critical.
Yeah.
So it can save a lot of pushback from your kids and also pushback from your partner when you're dealing with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, huge. Drew, do you want to say anything to that, or you're good?
I'm good.
Okay, good stuff. So let's look at three takeaways. We have positive discipline is not permissive, it's proactive and respectful. Also, boundaries show love and reduce chaos. I like that. Boundaries show love and reduce chaos. And then you as a dad, your calm leadership teaches your child how to self-regulate. And the three areas we covered today: why boundaries are an act of love, three practical tools for positive discipline, and Drew addressed some common dad struggles. So, Drew, any final thoughts and any takeaways or call to actions?
I guess my final thought is that if you don't know much about boundaries, that I really encourage you to learn. And because it has been one of the most valuable developmental areas that I've grown in as an adult. It's helped me in every single type of relationship, a marriage or partner, work relationship, acquaintances, professionals. It's been foundational. So I would say if you're not familiar with this concept of boundaries, get that book from Dr. Henry Cloud and Robert Townsend, and and then just do your best to begin applying it. It makes a significant difference, and it makes an even more greater difference for our children when they begin to see it lived out, and then are taught about it as well. So as they grow, because I think we're seeing a blurring of many lines just when you look society and culturally, and you know, um, valuable contributors anywhere.
And do you have a resource for our family, our listeners today, in regards to discipline boundaries?
Yeah, I think that the 7-step guide to stop yelling is probably a valuable resource. While it's not directly about boundaries, it is about recognizing and understanding our own inner workings that may contribute to us crossing boundaries by resorting to yelling. And so I think that there can be a great resource for our listeners. It's 7-step guide to stop yelling, or 7-step guide to calmer, more peaceful parenting.
Yes, excellent resource. Okay, as we wrap up, I've got a challenge for you listeners. Pick one boundary you've been consistent with and reset it using calm, clear language. As we wrap up, as always, you are listening or watching to Dad Central, a parenting podcast to reduce stress and build confidence in fatherhood. And our show is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. Dove Men Plus Care believes care is the best of a man because when men care for themselves and others, there's a positive impact. And as always, we want to thank you for giving the most important thing in your life, your time to listen to our show. And as always, don't just manage your time, manage your energy, and remember to give yourself grace. And we'll see you soon. Be well.